Hello, this is episode 3 of the Team Kittens podcast where we review some of our latest matches. How's it going there, Ben?
Oh, it's going great. Going great. Beautiful weather today. Very exciting.
Yep. Yeah, it is a wonderful day, and it was a tough night of Overwatch, but then as I
Yeah.
reviewed the film, it's always funny how, like, whenever we have a tough night, it seems like the opposing team is just dominant and they're just so much better than we are, and there's like we have no chance to win. But then when I review the film, like in a lot of does seem like the teams are matched pretty evenly in terms of our ability to like kill each other. It's just that we make a few more mistakes than they do, and they use their ultimates better. So that's what we'll review today, how that kind of happened. Now, on our first point defense on Kings Row, David is Winston, Melissa Diva, Missy is Moira. No, right, Ben's Moira, and I'm Torbjorn. So the idea of a Winston Diva defense, the way that it works is you want to cycle the tanks on and off the points. So as the enemy team pushes in and contests the points, you will have the Winston be the person who's contesting, and then he'll jump out, and then the Diva will jump in, and then the Diva will contest. So what this allows you to do is, as the Winston is taking damage, the Diva is being healed, and when they switch, then the Winston would be healed, and the Diva will be contesting point and taking damage. So that's sort of the most basic level how you run a Winston Diva defense. So, so as we start off, um, so far so good. David and Missy are playing safe. They're playing the pillar. Um, the enemy team is starting to push in. The Tracer's in the back, causing a little bit of trouble, but nothing too bad. Now here, David does a good job of disengaging. It seemed like Missy might have used her boosters, but they actually got like canceled or something. And so um, David gets back safe. We're able to heal up David, and also David helps to kill the Tracer. Unfortunately, Melissa's not able to get back to us, and so she loses mech.
Can we? So you talk about cycling. Can you give an example of what would have been better then, as far as ha, what would have been the better steps?
So I think it's fine to like for them to be up here and then like play the pillar like this, and sort of as the enemy team pushes in, do what they did, which was try to come back to us. It just seems like Melissa's boosters didn't got
So
canceled or
just
something,
timing.
so she got caught out.
So
So
was the right idea just bad timing?
yeah, so like yeah, you definitely want to be super safe. Where like you want to return maybe at half health or something like that, so that way it's not too dangerous. So I think it was just bad luck, where because she was returning to us, but her boosters didn't seem to work or
Okay,
something.
so two personal questions. One, which healer should I pick for this type of? Because that's the other thing is this is a completely different style than what we've been predominantly been playing, right? Theoretically, this we're playing dive. This would be considered dive.
Yeah,
So one, which healer should I have chosen? Was Moira the right choice? Should I have done Lucio instead? And two, what should have my positioning have been? Because yesterday I died a ton, which is probably more of a reflection of on me because before I play behind shields, and obviously in this scenario, David does a good job protecting me and putting the shield there. But like a lot of times, I'll actually put myself out in the open, subconsciously thinking that there's a shield when obviously there's no Orisa, there's no Rhine shield. So it's like those would be my two questions for me personally: is what healer should I pick, and what kind of positioning should I've had in this specific scenario?
yeah. I think Moira and Mercy both work really well for our level. Like,
Because she
because
can fade.
yeah, she can fade, and so she's you can play safely. Like it doesn't hurt to have like a lot of times what like upper level teams will do. Like, well, maybe have like an Anna here or like an Anna here, or like you could also be Baptiste where you're on the high ground.
Unless they don't let you. Unless they
Yeah,
ban you.
or unless they ban you, like yeah. So then like Mercy plays with this type of composition a lot because there's just so much mobility. So a lot of times on defense it'll be like a Mercy Anna, Mercy Baptiste, but like Moira can work as well for us. But if you're like Baptiste or something, you can be up here, and then that way the Mercy can come help you, or like both you like the Baptiste, and I could be up here with you as Torbjorn, so I could
Yeah.
protect you. Because the idea is like we like our defense could be like spread out in different spots, and then it's the Diva and the Winston that contest points, and they cycle. You know,
Okay.
Winston's on points, gets out. Then Diva goes in. Then Diva's on point, gets out. And that way, the Winston's when he jumps out, he can get healed. His cooldowns can come back up, while the Diva is on point. You know, using her defense matrix and her high health pool just to contest point, and then she gets out, she gets healed while the Winston's on point.
So where should I have been as Moira though?
So, like on a basic level, we all could have just been like clumped up here, where we just play really conservatively, where they don't have a great sight line. Because what ends up happening is the Ash gets here, and then the Ash has a good sight line here. But if we're here clumped up, then our tanks can cycle, and we could help them when we're here. And then like as a Torbjorn, I'll be set up here, and they'd have a hard time coming around this corner and contesting us. So Missy loses mech, and also like when we're over here, if they're getting really aggressive, we can start to back out. Where if we give up a tick or two, it's not the end of the world, as long as we're able to recontest. So we've lost mech. Their monkey jumps in. We do a good job of turning on their monkey. We get him down to half health. He jumps out. So everything's going well, pretty well so far. Now the problem here is we're playing as if we have a shield, where
Yeah. Yep.
this whole sight line is free, where the Ash has a big advantage on us here. So we should be playing more conservatively around the corner,
Yeah.
and that includes me. I'm here. So then the Ash is able to kill Ben.
Yeah, and maybe it's good also to have the turret flanking a little bit.
I think that's possible, but also if we're clumped up here, the turret could be helping to protect us.
Yeah.
Um, and so David kind of wanders around here, and again, we just want to worry about the objective. That's the number one goal here. Is if they contest the objective, then we contest the objective in a smart way. So we lost our mercy. So that was when we do that in the future, we can do a much better job of that. Do you have any other questions about?
No, a lot of it's just the setup, where to set up, and then if anything, we should discuss objectives right before the fight.
Yep, absolutely. And and it is a hard thing to explain before the fight, which makes this podcast worthwhile because it's a lot easier to explain in this environment.
Yeah, and I needed to have adjusted
Yeah,
because I died a lot, and that was on me.
yeah, and it is a big change for us, but it's also I think a fun change, and well, it'll be a challenge, but as we learn and get better, then we'll have another play style.
Yeah, it
Um,
will be. Yeah, it is going to be an adjustment, which is good.
so now here we've switched to we have Diva and Roadhog. So again, we have no shield, but like this area where there's a lot of corners, it can work pretty well as long as we play smart. Now, um, oh wait, this is random. So now that after they capped the first points, they end up using all their ultimates to kill us, which is actually really good for us. They used everything. They used Anna, they used Winston, they used Ash, they used Zarya. So they killed us, which was fine because by the time we were able to regroup, the card had gotten just so that we all died here, but that gave us enough time where we can recontest here. Where if we win this point, this is the best place possible to defend because our spawns are much closer than their spawns. So Missy,
Yeah.
so Missy does a really good job of touching right before the cap. So that's a great job by Missy. Um, and then we use our Moira ult, which is really good, and our Reaper ults. And so we end up using three ults. They use the Moira ults, and we're able to gain control of the points. Because what I found, like last night, um, we just most of the time the enemy team got more value out of their ultimates than we did. And when our ultimates worked, we would win. When their ultimates worked, they would win. Because we were like on a skill level of like killing each other. It seemed like we're on a pretty equal plane. But in terms of ultimate usage, they got a lot more value. Now here's one where I waste my ultimates. So like they just have three people live. So my instinct is to be aggressive and get the last three kills so that we stagger them and get more time. But this is a mistake by me because I'm being too aggressive. The Zarya comes back at me, and I probably would have died. You were a little bit in front of me, so maybe if you were behind healing, then you might have been able to save me. But it's still a mistake on my part of being too aggressive. So then I get rezzed, but our Mercy ends up dying trying to help me. So then I use my ultimate and get because I'm scared the Mercy just died. I waste my ultimate. So that's an example where I waste my ultimate. Now here's where we do a good job with ultimates. David uses his Roadhog ultimate, kills the Ash. Ben's doing a good job healing him. Ben uses his Moira ultimate to keep him alive. They use their Moira ultimates, and we've won the fights. Just by killing the Ash, we do a good job of pushing in together. We get their Moira. We get their Winston. So we win that team fight. So that's an example of where we do a good job with our ultimates. And again, here's another time. Missy uses her ultimates. And then I use mine. Mine's like hers gets a kill. Mine like zones them out. I think mine's probably a bad idea.
Well, and hers split it up, which is nice. That's one with diva bombs. Is you don't necessarily always get kills. Sometimes it's just creating space,
Ah, totally. Yep. And that was a
and that was excellent because it completely split up the team.
yes, totally. It got a kill and it split up the team. So like the Moira's over here. Three of them backed out. Their monkeys here. So mine's probably a waste. Like it keeps them off the card, but it's probably a waste.
Yeah, overkill.
So then
And with specifically with Torbjorn, it's good to spread his out and not just put it in one spot.
oh totally yeah, I agree with
So
that.
you could have spread it all over the payload, frankly.
And our Mercy just used her ult, so that probably was also a waste. So like I turn around, I'm able to kill the monkey. Um, their tracer, we're fighting the tracer and the Ash on the left hand side. Get those, so the tracer's dead. So we won. Again, we used three ultimates. We might have just needed to use one, but if that was the case where we used ultimates, we won the team fight. Now they have less than 2 minutes. So here, Missy uses her boosters to go in. That's probably might be a bad idea. She gets down to half health. She backs out, so that's good. Ben ends up using his ultimates, and he pushes forward.
Yeah, look at this. This is great.
Yeah, so
This is what lost us the fight right there.
yeah, well they were. Let's see here. They almost have Anna. They have Monkey. They almost have Moira, and they almost have. And they already have Ash and Zarya. So yeah, if they used their ultimates correctly, they probably still could have beat us. But we almost have Hog. We just used yours, and we have
Yeah,
Reaper.
I should
So
have backed up. In Moira's, you have to be behind people really to get any value out of it.
yeah, that way you can
And I
heal
went
and
forward.
yeah, heal and do
I don't know what I
damage
was
at the
looking
same
at. I
time.
probably saw somebody that was low and just moth to the flame.
Yeah, it might have been because Missy got down to half, and your instinct might have been to, and they were pushing in. So now they start pushing. They just push in and use all of their ultimates, and they kill us. So now, yeah, just two of us are alive. So, which again is not terrible. We got it down to a minute and a half. So that was a really good point B defense for us. Now we just use our Reaper ultimate, and that was a complete waste. So now that this is an example of okay, so we don't have a shield. We don't have a shield, so we should be playing conservatively. Like I should be like here, and then we should be playing kind of far back, and making them push into us. Because yeah, definitely without a shield, we shouldn't be this aggressive, including me, because I die. I think the Mercy dies with the pulse bomb. So yeah, they they use their pulse bomb and kills two of us, and then our Reaper dies. So now we're down three. So the cart's here. It's going to take the cart 15 seconds to get here. So that really gives you three guys enough time to retreat all the way towards our spawn and do almost a full regroup, so that we can contest the points or the cart at the very last second and have a much better chance. Because right now it is 3 versus 6, and the cart is far enough back that we do have enough time for you three guys to go all the way back to spawn, essentially. Because we then David uses his ultimates, and then also the other tough thing without not having a shield is their Anna got made both of our tanks and Ben. They're all purple, so Ben's
Mm.
ultimate can't heal.
Yeah, interesting.
So that's another disadvantage of not having a shield. So David is his ultimate. He can't get healed. He ends up dying. Melissa will get demeched, and then like literally like just if you guys were able to wait, like I have my ultimate, and so we could have like drop back to spawn, regroup, and then come out with um, Ben's ultimate. Missy's getting really close to Diva Bomb. I had mine. David has his, and then our Mercy almost has her ultimate. So if we do like a full regroup and do like a full fight, David would be able to use his. I'd be able to use mine, and then we'd be able to build up two more ultimates, and Missy or Ben would be able to use his. So we did have time to do a full regroup there.
Saying that was a better spread of your splatter too, by the way.
So their monkey does a really good ultimate and kills Ben, and so now there's just two of us alive. His monkey knocks me away. I try to kill him. I don't go to the carts, so they end up capping the point. So just a bunch of examples of like we were getting in terms of like a straight up fight. We would get as many kills as they got, but ultimately they just got a lot of value out of their ultimates. Now here, the last thing we have time for is just talking like strategy wise. So on our attack, they have Symmetra spamming her, her her orbs through here, and those were buffed recently where they do a ton of damage. So really, Symmetra is able to build up her ultimates really quickly. Not as much because of her little turrets, because her little turrets are like here and here, but she was able to get a bunch of her ultimate just spamming her orbs and David taking damage from her orbs. So then our McCree dies. So like when we're trying to push through, because they have a ton of healing. They have an Anna and a Moira, and like I start off as Farah, which I switched off of, which going against this comp isn't great. So we didn't have control of the Mercy pick because that was the random player. But probably if we wanted to like do a straight up fight where we want to push through the choke and fight them straight up, we probably need more healing. Um, and I could probably switch to Symmetra because those orbs do a ton of damage through choke points. And also like I could have just like camped up here, and whenever the Ryan tried to come around the corner, I could have beamed down his shield. So I could have switched to Symmetra maybe. But the other thing is, another strategy that we could have done is we could have gone into the hotel, go up to the second floor, drop out of this second floor window, go up these back stairs, and then set up on this high ground, and just like completely avoid this choke. Because
Yeah.
like
Or
I
teleport over there.
or teleport, like I could have gone like Bastion here through this choke is not great because they're easily able to hide. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of places to hide, and they can do a ton of damage back at me when I'm Bastion. So Bastion trying to shooting through this choke doesn't do much. But if
Junkrat's good too, though.
yeah, Junkrat would be good. Like, but one option is if we come around the back and with a Ryan shield and a Bastion on this high ground, like shooting over the points.
Yeah, and you stay up there for a while
Yeah,
till you get picks.
yep, exactly. So one thing that whenever they're doing a really good hold on this choke, one thing we should consider is always going up to the second floor, dropping through this window, and then rotating up here. So that's one option we could have done. You know, I could have gotten Junkrat, I could have gotten Symmetra. If we wanted to do a straight up fight to the choke, we probably needed more healing. Um, and the other thing is like their Anna is completely uncontested for most of the fights, and is able just to pump into heals into the front line. So this is an example where we could have gone dive. We could have gone Monkey Diva and just dove onto the Anna and tried to get a pick and create chaos, allowing the rest of us to get through the choke point for free. So that's another thing we could have done. But unfortunately, here we spent a lot of time um, trying to get through this choke, and probably not the best way. So yeah, so already this match has her ultimate. We get a kill on their Reinhardt. So it's currently 4 versus 5, and we're down a healer. But we have an advantage, and David gets a hook, but he ends up dying. We get their Moira, so now it's 4 versus 4. But we could have been aggressive at this point, but it would have been tough. So this is actually where we cap the points. So this is it's almost overtime. So David does a good job of he switched to Diva, and he's going to contest point. And this is an example of how like you know in a how dive can work. So he and also their Zarya makes a huge mistake and comes on our side of the choke point and dies. So their Zarya made a huge mistake. David does contest points, and that causes their enemy team to leave the choke, which gives us an opportunity to come in. Ben uses his ultimate, and he also contests the points. Melissa charges in and fights on the point, which is good. And then our McCree gets 3 kills with his Deadeye. So that's an example of just by simply having a Diva just get on points, causes the enemy team to panic, turn around, lets us come in for free, and get a bunch of kills with an ultimate. So some things to consider for the future for when the enemy team is doing a really good job of holding the choke points is we should consider, what our composition is. Do we want to find a ways around it? Do we want to dive onto the point to create chaos? So, Like ultimately, it felt like the enemy teams um,
Destroyed us.
destroyed us, but in reality, in straight up fights, we would get just as many kills as them. They just um, would use their ultimates better, and there's some strategic things that we can do a lot better as well. So a lot of good stuff to learn. And again, here, like his Deadeye got 2 kills. Then we lose one. We use we used Deadeye, Transcendence, Shatter, and Diva Bomb, and so far we've only killed 2. So, but then, like I'm on, we still have the advantage. It's still 6 versus, and then we res our McCree, so it's 6 versus 4. So we used 4 ultimates. We got 2 kills, but we had the advantage. I'm Bastion, and I make the mistake of staying on carts, while like 4 of you go kill the Reinhardts.
Yeah, because I called out the Ryan was low.
So 4 of you go and kill the Reinhardts. I'm
Yeah,
alone on
nice.
cart, and I just don't move, and I die. But still, we have the advantage. It's 4 versus 3.
What happened to the McCree?
Got killed by the soldier.
Oh wow.
So we still have the
That's
advantage
good.
though. 4 versus 3. No. Okay. David jumps in a little bit too deep, and he might get punished for it. So now we're splits. So David used his boosters to get in, and it did like zone them out. But like the Mora uses her ultimate, and with like our Mercy and Zen being pretty squishy, like it probably would have been better if David could have responded, and then everyone could have focused the Moira. So David loses his mech, the Moira, then Melissa's Reinhardt dies, and it pushes everyone back. So ultimately, we used 4 ultimates. They used just 1 ultimate, and they won the fight. So,
Yeah.
so just a good example of just better ultimate usage.
Should probably wrap up.
Yep. So it was a tough night, but there's still a lot we can learn from it and get better at. I think if we do a good job of we should focus more on in between fights of figuring out what ultimates we have and what ultimates we think the enemy team has, and then try to coordinate better. Um, and there are a lot of times where like Missy and David and Ben, you say like, okay, I have my ultimates, which is very helpful because a lot pro teams usually divide things into like there's one shot caller and then there's one person who tracks ultimates. Um, and obviously we don't need to do something that rigid, but like I do a lot of shot calling. If we could all just like in between fights, if we all just talk about what ultimates we have and what ultimates we think the enemy team has, and then like when they
Yeah,
attack, like which ultimates we want to use, I think that could help a lot.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So you got anything else?
Nope. That's good stuff.
Great. Well, everyone, stay safe out there from the old coronavirus. Let's wash those hands and stay away from sick people and
Play more video games.
play more video games. Yeah, perfect excuse to play more video games. So we will talk to you next week.
Yep.